Hello and welcome to Westgate Community School's Future Family Night. Thank you for being here. I am Sharon Collins. I'm the Executive Director of Westgate Community School, and I am joined by Rochelle Goforth, who many of you have been talking to and emailing with. She is our wonderful, amazing enrollment director. So if you have any questions for her as well, just put them in the chat and we will answer them either as the presentation goes on or at the end. There will be time for questions and answers. Thank you for being here. I am Sharon Collins. As I said, I'm the executive director. I have been here at Westgate Community School for 12 years, and I am thrilled to share our amazing school and programming with you tonight. And I hope that you learn everything you need to know. So before we begin, I'm going to do a little warm up, as we like to call it, play you a little video. Every time I see that, I think that speech is such a wonderful speech that he gave, and it really articulates what Westgate Community School believes about the responsibility the school has to the parents and the students, and we really work in partnership to support your child through education. So I think, yes, it's the student's classroom. Yes, teachers are there to help students explore and engage with the world around them. So tonight we're going to cover a few things, a brief history of Westgate so you know a little bit about who we are, our programming model. This is really sort of big picture and curriculum and all of the things we do and why we do that. If you haven't been on a tour yet, that's where you'll sort of see a day in the life of a Westgate student. We go over before and after school care and car line and lunches, and you get to see the classrooms and what they look like and feel like and sound like. So if you haven't been already, please sign up for a tour, and that's where you'll get all sort of those details about what it's like to be part of our community on a day-to-day basis and those nuts and bolts that parents really need to be thinking about. The enrollment process and lottery will be next, and then questions and answers. And we will try not to take up too much of your evening. Thank you so much again. So brief history of Westgate Community School. We are a true grassroots charter school. We were founded by teachers and parents who dreamed about what school could and really should be for both students and families and teachers. It really is a remarkable sort of dream that came to fruition. We are now in our 16th year of operations, and we are in our 13th year here in this location in our permanent home with our wonderful environmental campus and playgrounds and all of those wonderful things we've been building throughout the year. Westgate is part of a charter school movement. And if you don't know what a charter school it is a public school. So it's a public school, and we are a part of Adams 12 school district. So it really, the first thing that our founders got together, it was a group of those parents and teachers. The first thing they did was they got to create a name. And what Westgate stands for is welcoming exceptional students to gifted and talented education. So that's what Westgate means. And they really were dreaming about those students and what they needed in a school. The mission of Westgate Community School is at Westgate Community School, gifted education is provided to all students in a community that nurtures the whole child, empowers students to be authentic, supports individuals in reaching their own academic goals, develops stewardship for the environment, and inspires passion for serving the global community. So how do we do that through our program? And as you're here, you might want to put in the chat what grade your students are in. So then I know how to target this. Typically, we would do a hands in the room when it's live, but I like being able to offer a virtual parent night because we get to allow parents to be at home or at work or wherever they need to be and still hear all of the information. So if you can put it in the chat, then I would be able to know. Kindergarten is such a great year because you are really looking for the foundation. Where are they going to be for the next little while? Ninth grade is a lot like that too. In high school, where are they going for high school? So it's a really exciting time, and I would urge you to really look at a lot of schools and decide what's best for your child and your family. I know when I went through this process, my son is in third grade, there's a lot of noise and a lot of static about like where you should go and what's best. And really what it is a true family decision about what's the best match for your child. So this is an exciting time and really try to enjoy it. So Westgate Community School is K-12 gifted education for the whole child. And that has been our our foundation, our core of what our school has been since its inception. So whole child education is very dear to us and very central to every decision we make and everything we do in the classrooms and in the hallways and every decision we make in our offices. And whole child has become a bit of a buzzword. So if you start to hear that in other places, I urge you to ask more. What does whole child mean to you? So at Westgate Community School, whole child education, we look at in three pillars of mind, body, and community. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those here. And again, you'll hear more on the tours. So the mind, we look at depth and complexity as an educational framework, and it is an educational framework for gifted education. And this philosophy of gifted education looks at going deeper and more complex into subject areas rather than always faster and faster. So one of the examples I like to give, instead of saying, oh, they're in first grade, but in third grade standards, we also like to think, how deep and complex are they looking at this? Call of the Wild is about a third grade reading level as a novel. And you can read that book and think of it as a book about a dog and its journey and how he has to go from being sort of a house dog into the wild and what changes happen. And you can read it very much at that level of what happens to the dog during the book. Or you can read it at a deeper and more complex novel as a look into ourselves as human beings and the idea of primitive versus civilized. And when are we primitive in our lives and when are we civilized? And third graders can have those kinds of conversations and let the novel reflect pieces of their humanity and pieces of who they are as human beings. Those are two very different readings of the same novel. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about depth and complexity. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But really, the mind is about what we do in classes, how we do this in classes. We're a small school. We're about 550 students, K-12. We have small classes, and within those small classes, there's a lot of small groups doing differentiated work. We have social emotional learning every single day at Westgate Community School, and we don't give lip service to that. We put aside time every day in the schedule for that work to be done. We deliberately and critically teach executive functioning, skills, and growth in those areas at every age throughout the school. We have a unique and manageable homework policy, which means K, 5, 6, there's really not a lot of work that should be coming home. By 5th and 6th grade, they may be reading novels at home. And we say to all families, students should be reading or being read to every single day, and they should be practicing math with things at home like counting by twos, talking about math things at dinner table, adding up things at the grocery store or at Target. So those are sorts of the practice because what we believe here is that teachers really know their students by watching them problem solve and do the work in class. And that's the way teachers can really identify what students' needs are and what the next steps for them should be in learning concepts and skills. So homework policy, no homework in those lower grades, and homework to reinforce the learning in sort of sixth, and you'll definitely see it in seventh and eighth. If you're here to learn more about the high school, there is homework in high school. So there's homework in high school, and our high school students go over to the college, and there's definitely homework at the college. Kindergarten, for your parents who are here, those we have a full day of academics, so they have literacy, math, and either science or social studies every single day, and one of our specials every single day. And they also have time for imaginative play and purposeful play. And they need to be able to do those different kinds of play. Purposeful play are things that are set out that reinforce the learning that they're already doing within their core subject areas. Body. This is about movement, about knowing how your body's feeling, regulating your emotions. So we have intentional movement through learning. They have PE. Recess is really, really important to us. Kinder through second grade, they have a full hour of recess throughout the day, a 15-minute break in the morning, 30 minutes before lunch, and then 15 minutes in the afternoon. 45 minutes in 3-4, they have a morning break and that 30 minutes before lunch. And in 5th through 8th grade, they have that 30 minutes before lunch to really move their bodies and use those big muscles and climb and swing and get on our zip line and things like that outside. But as I said, it's not just about recess, it's also about learning those self-regulation skills that teachers can model and they can practice throughout the day. We do have a social emotional curriculum in the K2 grades called the SPOT curriculum. You can look that up or hear more about it on the tour. And we allow students to choose different types of flexible seating that's comfortable for their bodies so that they can attend and learn more. Community is, it's a part of our name, right? And so we're very embedded within our community at the school, but also in the larger Thornton community, Adams County community, and sort of the Denver metro community. We believe that community starts here in the school with multi-grade teams where first and second grade students are together. Kinder is its own team, but it lives in the same pod as first and second graders. So younger students can learn and see older students as they move through the school. So second graders move to the third and fourth grade pod, 5th and 6th, and 7th and 8th. And when you're a second grader and you're welcoming up the kindergartners to first grade, you really get to learn to be a leader and show them how we do things in second grade. And as a first grader, you learn to be a follower and learn to watch and see how things go. So there's times to be leaders and times to be learners at different times throughout our building. The teachers all work together on teams and get to know all 100 students on a team. We have service learning, K-12, and there are after-school clubs. We have our environmental education campus with our chickens and our goats, and they learn about the animals. And we also have 2 reptiles inside the building that they learn about as well. They learn about taking care of our earth and the school campus as well. Our high schoolers have senior internships where they go out into the community and work half day. We believe in family engagement and appreciating our families for the time that they can give to the school. So a little bit about gifted instructional best practices at Westgate. And this is, really what makes Westgate different than other schools. And we have consistent high expectations for all students. And even if your child is highly gifted, there may be other areas within their learning where they struggle or they need to learn more. So we really have high expectations for everyone. Differentiation is key to student success. So we do this in 4 different ways. In content, do they need different content, different leveled content, different grade content? Is it a process? Is it that the student learns better auditorily? Are they a visual learner? Are they a hands-on learner? Is it the product that they are creating to show their learning, or is it the environment in which they're in? Is it small group? Is it large group? Is it, a small group that's being, out in the pod? Are they on the floor? Are they standing tables? So we differentiate in many different ways. Small group learning happens for all students. And there's a variety of different types of groups that we use, and we look at both academics and social emotional needs of the students. And the teachers switch those groups up throughout units, throughout the semester, to get at different learning styles and interests and passions. Oh, I'm putting all of these kids together because they're my dinosaur kids. And we're really going to tackle these skills and standards through dinosaurs. But over here, we're going to be doing butterflies or bees or pollinators. So there's a way to group kids, even if they're at slightly different levels because of passion. But it may be this other group is my reading levels, something like that. So the teachers really do change those groups up to meet the needs of the students who are in front of them. Our teachers are never teaching the same thing in the same way year after year because the students are different. So they're always changing based on the needs of the kids who are currently in front of them, and then changing them as the needs of the students grow and change throughout the year. We are interest-based and hands-on. We use depth and complexity. These icons you see on the screen, those are the depth and complexity icons, and teachers can put those up to give a visual cue to students that today we're going to be talking about details. So I'll put up the daisy, and that's the indicator of we're going to be looking at details. Or I'm going to be looking for patterns today. So if we're talking about history, have we seen this pattern before? It's a different way to look at the same content. So we talked about, language of the discipline or the vocabulary that we use within mathematics. But today we're going to be looking at the same sorts of problems and looking for patterns in those problems. So it allows students different ways to look at content to get a deeper understanding of the work that they're doing. So we use evidence-based curriculum, which I will discuss. We pre-assess students at the beginning of every unit so that the teacher then knows these students in front of me know this, so I can move past that and I can do a quick refresher and move on to different content. We have content specialists. We have a literacy content specialist as well as a math content specialist, always here polling groups, both groups that need support within those subject areas and groups that need extension within those content areas. And they're also supporting teachers in really planning robust classroom experiences for your kids each and every day. And then we do compacting of information. They don't need it. We can, do that review. Telescoping, which is going through a few different grade levels of standards at once with students. And then we make sure that every child is proficient at their grade level content before moving them on. So the research-based curriculums that we are using in literacy, we have Open Court, which is from HMH. You can look this up. And we have Into Reading and Into Literature. Next year, we will be in the second year of this curriculum. It is research-based, and it connects reading and writing. Differentiation is built in. We do not have our teachers, however, follow the curriculum day by day. What we do is provide these resources to our teachers so that they can choose the right resources for the students in front of them and what they need. What can they compact? Where can they go next with each student and with each small group? It's standards based, and it has a scope and sequence. So you as parents will know every month about where should my student be? What should they be learning? What are they on so I can talk about it over dinner? And so that scope and sequence is there for you so that you know what they're learning throughout the year. And then it has consistent instructional practices. So as your child goes from kindergarten through the system, the fifth grade and into high school, it has consistent instructional practices and consistent language. So they're not learning how teachers do it differently. It feels the same, the language is the same, and that allows them to move faster through the curriculum and focus less on those instructional differences between educators and focus more on learning and growing within the classroom. It also gives expert training to our teachers and ongoing coaching. So as teachers are teaching it, if they need to ask questions of the experts, they can talk to a coach right away through the curriculum and get some ideas on how to extend for students or how to support students or how to make it more complex for the entire class. Big Ideas Math is our math curriculum. Next year we'll be in our fifth year of that curriculum. Again, research-based. We collect data, we pre-assess, the teachers instruct in whole group as well as in small groups to hit those students exactly where they need. And I read this today. Many people say kids learn faster than adults, but if you watch toddlers, they're always sort of reaching for this skill and they're sort of always at the edge of their ability. They're walking along the couch before they let go and walk on their own. And that at Westgate it struck me because that's where we want kids to be, on the edge of their ability, so that they're always being pushed to that next level, that next standard, that next skill. And so I just thought that was a beautiful way to think about it. And that's really what we're trying to do here, is keep kids really at that edge of their ability where they're comfortable, but they're stretching each and every day to learn more. So what makes us special? This is the question you're asking at every school, at every one of these presentations. I really feel it's our profound understanding of gifted learners. Um, we are a community of lifelong learners. There are gifted learners at every level of teaching in this school as well. We believe deeply in service and service to one another, our community as a school, and our community at large. We believe in environmental education, and our high school program is truly one that is accelerated. Our high school students go to college and can earn an associate's degree at the same time they're earning their high school diploma. So Linda Silverman, who has her practice here in Westminster, Colorado, said when gifted children are asked what they most desire, the answer is often a friend. It's somebody who gets them. And it really is a poignant reminder of the power of connection. And we understand that here and understand that that connection takes time. And it has to be done in a way where students feel safe and heard within their classroom. Service learning is at every level. As I said, you can see some of the projects at the bottom here, but it really allows students to become experts in something service. They identify the service at the beginning of the year as a group, and then they work on that project all year long. And they present that project to the community at the end of the year. It's an outlet for all of our kids, but especially for those kids that sometimes don't feel successful in a traditional classroom, or maybe not here, but it's where a passion is, and they can shine and lead in a way that maybe they don't lead in content or core areas in the school. It's the thing that gets them going and smiling. At the National Association for Gifted Conference, this was said, the exquisite sensitivity of the gifted needs nurturing support for it to flourish. Teach gifted learners to love themselves, one another, and the planet. And that indeed is what we're doing here. And our students really get behind this. The recycling, we have No Waste Wednesdays. You'll hear about this on the tours. All of these things our students really believe in and cherish, and it becomes sort of a part of who we are as a community. A little bit of drawings of our environmental campus. We have an outdoor amphitheater. We have the chicken coop and pen and the goat pen. We have bees at beehives at the very far end of the property, closer to Thornton, away from the playgrounds. But we have a large playground area and 11-acre campus of outdoor classrooms and places where kids can be outside learning as well as inside. I forgot the gardens. We have community gardens as well. Our high school programming. Again, it's an early college model. It's called concurrent enrollment. You can earn that associate's degree while you're earning your diploma. It's tiny. Our freshman class will be 30 students, and that allows us to really know our students well. And then we send them off to one of the largest community colleges to take classes. There's more opportunity for them to get advanced learning and exposed to different types of teachers and curriculum than we could do at a small school. So it is small and selective, and it's less traditional. The students have more freedom because as freshmen, they will leave campus 2 days a week at lunchtime, go over to Front Range and go to their class. They can have lunch there, they can go to the library, the writing lab, or the math lab, and be really, truly college students while they're there, and then come back to the small campus where they can get support from our counselors, our teachers, and our administrators. They can also do certificate programs if they decide not to pursue the full associate's degree. They may dabble around and try different kinds of classes that they're not sure what exactly they want to get. So we help students choose their courses. All of their courses are guaranteed transfer to colleges in Colorado and mostly throughout the nation. If they're a state college, it's guaranteed transfer. We transport the students to FRCC by bus. Westgate Community School pays the tuition, and families pay for books and fees. Most books now are online, so they're relatively inexpensive, and some are even free. And fees are pretty cheap. Rochelle, you had a student graduate from our high school program. Will you talk a little bit about that for parents?
Yeah, I think the most I ever paid for a semester, and this is senior semester, taking a full course load, was about $150. So you still have to kind of budget, but definitely a steal in the grand scheme of everything.
Yeah, last year we had a parent, comment on social media. His son left here and transferred into CU Boulder. He was accepted into CU Boulder. And then once they went through his transcripts, he was actually a junior. And he said, the high school experience my son had at Westgate Community School saved our family $60,000. So that's huge. And they had practice in a very supported way of how to become successful at college. So freshmen take one class, sophomores take 2 classes a semester, juniors take 3 classes a semester, and high schoolers are full-time at the college up to 4 classes. And then they come here on Fridays. So they're at the college Monday through Thursday. And again, they have access to all the resources as well as the College Now office at Front Range, which is a special office there that works with concurrent enrollment students, and they earn up to 60 credits, and they have all of those options available to them. So we are inclusive, full-time gifted education. And if you are a parent of a gifted child, you know that it is not 1 hour a day or 1 hour a week when a gifted teacher may come to their class and pull them out. They are gifted all day, every day, and all night because they don't sleep very well. And so this is what we keep in mind when we make decisions about what we do here at Westgate for our kids. There are 5 types of gifted human beings. And George Betts and Maureen Neihart created these profiles of the gifted and talented. And they were teachers at Arvada West High School many years ago. And they worked in a classroom. They were put in as first-year teachers that was down the hall with the students that you didn't really want to work with. They had behaviors and other things like that. And as they began working with the students, they started to realize that these students were super smart and they had a lot of knowledge. And so this began George Betts's long career in researching gifted and talented human beings. And he said, in school, in education college, we were told that gifted people look and acted a certain way. And he said, that's not true at all. That's one type, the successful type. And that's what you're taught many times in educational programs, what to look for. It's the stereotype. They get their work done, they work fast, they turn it in on time, they raise their hand to help others and, erase the whiteboard. And this is who's typically identified for gifted programs. Type 2 is called the creative student. They used to call them challenging, but now we call them creative. And these are your nonconformists. They're your divergent thinkers. They're the ones that are questioning the teachers. They're the ones that are saying, no, pterodactyls are not dinosaurs because they can fly. And so they're challenging because they have a wealth of knowledge. And many times it's difficult for teachers to see how truly intelligent they are. There's type 3, which is the underground. And I want to point out here that you're not one type your entire life. You can go in and out of all of these types at different stages throughout your life. And you never stop being gifted, parents. So if you have a gifted child, most likely one or both of the parents can identify with these types as well. So underground is an underachiever. At times, they look at in research females because they're trying to sort of dim their light so that their friends still like them. It's the time in middle school where they might say to the teacher, will you please not read my story in front of the class again? Or they do poorly on a test so they can be in the same class as friends of theirs. And so they want to identify with the non-gifted friends of theirs. There are many different people who go underground. If they figure, oh, if I get into that gifted class, I may have to do more work. So I'm just not going to do that. And I'm going to stay right here. A C is fine with me, you may hear your gifted child say. Type 4 is at risk and dropouts, they used to call them. And we call them at risk now because dropouts do not happen at 16 years old. Nobody wakes up one morning and says, I'm dropping out today, without really a series of events that have happened through school that just made them feel disconnected. And it is a process by which they feel like school isn't for me, and maybe I'll just get a GED and a job. This is your child in the backseat of the car who says, "Can I just go to work with you, please?" Or, do I need to do this? Yes. So they go through that time. And what we want to do is bring them out of that, and really find their passions so they feel connected back to the school community and feel connected to one another. The last is called multi-exceptional. And you may have heard the term 2E or twice exceptional. There's also much research being done on thrice exceptional. And this is new reading that I've been doing. So twice exceptional is when your child is truly gifted and has the IQ in one hand, and in the other hand, they may have a disability, which could be ADHD, dyslexia, all different types of dysgraphia, dyscalculia. They could have a reading or a math disability. They could have different health concerns that are causing problems within the school environment. So that's twice exceptional. I'm gifted and I have a disability. And there's thrice exceptional, which is I am gifted, I have a disability, and I'm also a language learner or multilingual. And so that is this new group of students that researchers are beginning to look at. But that's not where we want gifted people to stay. Through the research George Betts came up with, there's actually a sixth type, and that's the autonomous learner. And this is what we want. We want all of those different types of gifted human beings to become autonomous learners throughout their life. We want them to be intrinsically motivated. It feels good to learn the answer and to know what things mean and how they work. We want them to be empowered and self-directed. We want them to be reasonable risk takers, because to have an entrepreneurial spirit means you must learn how to take reasonable risks and also be humble enough to ask somebody who has an answer, how did you get that? I want to know how you solve that problem, and be able to listen to somebody and then take that information and use it themselves in their problem solving. So it's really about this idea that they learn that grades are one thing, but really mastery of a content is where the importance lies. And they don't learn that in kindergarten, but they do learn that at Westgate, we hope by eighth grade. So when they go to high school, whether they choose to come to Westgate's high school or go on, they're successful because they have this intrinsic desire to learn. So in our school, we want our students to be creative thinkers. And what do they need? They need, as I said before, they need to trust the people around them. They need to trust the adults and their peers to feel safe. They need cooperation more than competition. We don't create competitions here because kids create competition. Who's first outside? Who's first to the swings? They will create competition where none exists. So here, if we're doing a food drive during our kindness week, we don't set, we don't pit sort of advocacy against advocacy. What we do is we set a school-wide goal, And when we reach that goal together, we celebrate together. And if we miss the goal, we go back to our rooms and we talk about what could we be doing different in order to reach that goal next time. And we also take stock of what we did accomplish and how close we were to success. Were we close to the mark? Were we far off the mark? And really take pride in what we've done, and then how do we get better? We are a community of learners. Again, I'll teach you, you teach me. We're going to learn together. And we know here that choices are essential. Not everybody learns in the same way, and not everybody can express their understanding and knowledge in exactly the same way. And so that's really important. We want students to believe that creating is worthwhile. So how do we define success here? And there are many ways. So academic success, we do different assessments. We are part of CMAS, which is the Colorado Measure of Academic Standards. So and those are the literacy in math, 3rd through 8th grade. There's science and then social studies at other grade levels. We have been a performance school. That's the highest rating that you can get. And it measures both achievement and growth. And that is different than the NWEA MAP assessment. And we give that 3 times a year. And that is done in school. It's not timed. Students can take as long as they like to do as much work on it as they would like. It's really, it reduces the anxiety of the timer that some other assessments have, and it measures growth. So each year you will see how your child progresses from fall to winter to spring, and then where they come in the next fall. And it really creates for parents an understanding of how their child is growing year to year in both literacy and in reading and in math. So how do we do? SAT last year, our 11th graders who are our 12th graders this year, their average was 1054.7, which is above both the district and the state. And our N is very small. Our senior class is 18 students. So if one student does really poorly, other students are scoring very, very high to get this kind of an average with 18 students. The state and the district has such a much larger number of students taking the test that their average comes out a little bit easier if there are students who aren't doing as well on the test. So 1054 for our students. It's amazing. Matriculation from our high school, our students go all over. They stay in state, go to all of the state colleges, both private and public, and they go to private and public schools all over the nation. NYU, Stanford, they go to University of Arizona and University of Florida and all over, the School of Aviation in Nebraska. So Westgate graduates head to colleges all over, as well as into the workforce because they have an associate's degree, or into the military or military academies. Associate's degrees, 50% of our graduating class last year, they received their associate's degree, but all students had earned college credits. So some of those students were just one class away from their associate's degree or 2 classes away from their associate's degree. So some of them went over the summer, completed it, and transferred in. But all of them, when they transferred in, they might not be a junior, but they're a second semester sophomore, like that. So they really do a great job in the high school preparing students for college. So at Westgate, we love all of that academic success, but we also think, how can we redefine success? And I love this quote: the more we stress in school only what we can measure, the more we need to remember that not everything that is measurable matters, and not everything that matters is measurable. So how can we look at our other successes? And so I look at our community, and you can see there was one of our kindergartners a couple of years ago with one of our baby goats. We have our environmental campus and our plants and our gardens. We have a nationally recognized peer mentoring program where our high schoolers apply to become peer mentors. They are trained by our counselors, and they become peer mentors to the K through 8th grade students. Last year, they served over 200 students, and they do this peer mentoring work as their service back to our school. And we have a tradition in our school that during CMAS testing and when the PSAT and SAT tests are being done, our kindergarten, first and second graders have to be really quiet because there's all this testing going on. So we have them decorate the hallways with posters and all different ideas to make testing more celebratory. And then by the time they get to third grade, they're wondering, what are the little kids going to do for us? So it takes some of the anxiety and worry around big stakes testing away and really makes it become fun and a part of the community. When you're a third grader taking it for the first time, it's nice to know that the entire school is there for you, and the kindergartners are walking around like, shh, we have to be quiet. So they know that it's important for our students, older students, to be able to concentrate and think about what they're doing. Bully prevention, another success of ours that we're very, very proud of. Enough Walk and Talk is something we teach every October to all students, and we remind students who heard it last year. But the idea of being able to say to somebody, enough, and if you don't have the words, in this building, if you do this, everybody knows what it means. It means stop. It doesn't feel good. And it doesn't have to be happening to you. Somebody else can hear it and say, enough. And they can walk away. And if it doesn't stop, they go and they know they can tell any adult in the building, and we will help support them. And we do this in October, which is Bully Prevention Month, as I said. We were also featured in an IndieFlix documentary called The Upstanders. They did a lot of filming at our school around supporting bully prevention initiatives. And the documentary also talks about sort of the impact that bullying can have on individuals. And so it's really something that we're proud of, that we continue at our school, and our peer mentors help to lead that. So it really is student led. We've talked a lot tonight. I've talked a lot about our programming and the way things that we do differently here about our animals outside, about our gardens, about all of those things. And we really believe that what we have here is a different kind of educational experience that you find in many schools and definitely in traditional schools. And years and years ago, when our parents and teachers went before Adams 12 and said, we want to start a small school where, there's social emotional learning every single day. 17 years ago, before the first year, that was something that wasn't done. Wait, you're going to take time out of the day to talk about mental wellness and your emotional well-being and how to engage with others in a positive way. And they were like, yes, we are. And they were going to do different kinds of clubs and have different kinds of experiences with the animals that isn't really available in traditional schools. And um, it took a lot of bravery for them to leave the school that they were at and start this school. And it took a lot of bravery for those founding families to come to a school that hadn't existed, and really, and what has been built here and what's come to fruition over the 16 years is an amazing testament to what they knew as parents and teachers was good for kids. So we love TED Talks around here. So I want to show you this that really speaks to how we build leaders, but how we also recognize followers as a piece of leadership. And I want to dedicate this to Rochelle, who was a founding family as well as one of the founders and a founding staff member, all in one person. So here we go. We believe in innovation here. We believe that our founders had great ideas, and we look to research and trends that are happening. We look at other schools, and if we see them doing something great, we, just like we ask our students to do, we go to them and say, how are you doing that? And we, in turn, when people want to know about what we're doing here, we invite them in and we show them, because we want to spread what's working for kids and for gifted learners. And we want for our school to continue to grow and innovate with all of the ideas that are spreading in other great schools. So I invite you to join the crowd, and if what I'm saying is resonating with you about our school, come to a tour and continue to learn more so that you can make a really wonderful educated decision for your child and your family. So we're going to talk about the enrollment process now. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, Rochelle, the K-8 enrollment. Wonderful. Please join me.
Absolutely. So super exciting. The application just opened on Sunday, the 1st. So it's open right now. And we will keep it open up until about mid-September. But the most critical time that you guys want to know about is all of the applications that are received between now and January 31st will be part of the lottery we hold on February 7th. And we will send emails out, no matter what. You'll receive an email, either a seat offer or a wait pool notification. And everyone has 5 days to make a decision on those seat offers. If you don't make a decision, if you don't respond, then it will auto decline and pull another name from the wait pool. And just part of some of the other things you want to do, like we've talked about, is go on a tour with me so I can show you around this school. You can see what it feels like, what the energy is like. And another big question we get pretty frequently is how many seats are available? It depends. So we do fill kindergarten to capacity each year, and we do fill 9th grade to capacity each year. Another natural transition year where we see more seats available is in 6th grade, because it's that natural year. And so we maybe with some of our kids did K through 5 and they're like, we want to do a big middle school. Fantastic. Go try that out. And so we'll have some more seats available then. Everywhere else, we send an intent to return to our current families in January as well. And that will allow us to know how many seats to put in that lottery. Wait pool. We don't do a numbered list like most places do. We do have an actual pool of students. So we have different priority groups, and I have those on the website for K-8. We give preference to staff and siblings first. Then we do in district and then out of district. And so we will exhaust those different pools with those seats before we move on to the next pool. And if you do get that wait pool notification email, give me a call, shoot me an email. We can see how many people are in that pool so you can make decisions based on that as well.
Great. And then high school, there's a couple more steps, right?
Yep, it is a little bit more, but it's not super scary, I promise. So step 1, filling out our application. And you can wait to submit it until you have the second part. The second part is applying to Front Range and getting a student number. It doesn't bind you to anything. You're not, it's not super scary. All it does is literally just generate a student number. Once you have that student number, you can go online and schedule the AccuPlacer test. They will give you a printout of the test right then and there, and you can upload that to the application. You can send it and scan it to me and send it in an email. You can bring it to the school, whatever, totally okay. And then we, again, information night for high school, take a tour, and then I will be sending out shadow information for students that have submitted applications from for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and high school. So I will be sending all of that information out. We're going to be doing those in February this year. And then once you guys accept seat offers in high school. Miss Washington will reach out to you with all the next steps of setting up the underage meetings and picking classes, that sort of thing.
Thank you. I just saw a question come through. In kindergarten, we have 18 seats per class, and there are 3 classes, so there are 54 seats total for kindergarten. And in every other grade, we have 50 seats, so it's about 25 students per class. Last video before more questions. Oops. Sorry. As I said before, for parents, this is really a wonderful time, whether you're finding your child's kindergarten or trying to move them to a school that's a better fit for your child and family. What I would say to you is don't stop searching for that right school, and you will know it. You will know it deep inside you. This is the place for my child. And when a child meets just the right school programming, magic happens. And so I would tell you to not stop until you find that right place for your child and your family. I love coming to work every single day. Westgate is a wonderful, vibrant educational community that feeds my soul, and I see it in the faces of our teachers and our students. There's joy here, and that happens because it's just the right place for them. And so I urge you, find that place and don't stop until you do. And if it's not Westgate, then it's fine. And I also wish you the greatest success in finding that just right match for your family and for your child. So in conclusion, I just want to thank you all for being here. If you have questions, I think Cassie Siebold is still driving. She is our K-12 principal. She's been on listening, but we're going to go into questions now, so you can put them into the chat if you would like. Rochelle is here. She can answer any questions about enrollment. I can answer questions about teaching and learning and instructional things. This is wonderful. So you want to answer about the tour?
So on our website, if you go to the top, there's a tab that says enrollment, and one of the tabs says enrollment events. And so you can click on that, and I have all the upcoming tours. The next tours will be available in January. And then we also have our last in-person information night in January as well.
And I see people are typing, so I'll wait just 1 minute.
And then just in the meantime, I also have some like FAQs on our website for K-8 as well as high school. And I have some flyers uploaded on the left-hand side of the website too. So you guys can always take a look at those.
I hope it's okay. I'm just going to ask a question instead of typing it
go
in.
ahead. Yeah.
I have a couple. So I'm curious about, you have a broad range of students, How do you handle dynamics of such a young audience, young kids with high schoolers, and what does that look like day to day?
Sure. They're in separate parts of the building. So our kindergarten, first and second graders are together. Our K-8 school is on the second floor of our building. Our high school is on the first floor. And so they enter through different doors as well and exit through different doors. So our K-4 students walk in through one door, and the first pod they'll come to is the K-2 pod. And if they walk down the hall, it's the 3-4 pod. Our 5th through 8th grade students come in the front door and walk up the stairs. The 5-6 pod is right in front of them, and the 7-8 pod is down the hall to the left. And our high school students come in the main door and downstairs and then over to the high school. So they are in sort of separate building or separate areas of the building, but they can also see, like kindergartners can see first and second graders. Kindergartners through 4th grade have recess together, so they can play with different ages, or if their sibling is a couple years older, they'll at least see them out in recess. 5th through 8th grade has recess at a different time, and then high school, isn't out there for that. They leave campus to go. They're either here all day or they leave campus to go to the high school. Let's see. Did you have more questions?
Yes, I do,
Okay,
but
go ahead.
I just want to make sure no one else has.
Go
any
ahead,
questions.
and then I'll get to Lisa Harris's question right after you.
Okay. I'd be curious to know, you talked a little bit about the first graders and second graders, the leader. And I'm curious now, your classes right now, they're by grade. So you don't have it not by skill level. It's really at the grade level, and then you have smaller groups within the class.
Yes. So what it is there are 2 first grade classes, and this changes as they move through the school. But in first grade or in kindergarten, in that level, first kinder through second, they are with the same teacher all day long, except for specials. And so they sort of have that true relationship with their teacher. We had been transitioning those students for every single class, and we found that it was too much transition throughout the day. So looking at research and then working with our teachers found that fewer transitions was better for that age group. And so yes, they're in a first grade class, and our teachers differentiate, and in all of the ways I talked about in the 4 through content, process, environment, and product. And then they also group them so that the students are learning at their level. We ensure that the students all know the grade level standards first, and then move them to where they need to be. But we're not always telescoping to second grade standards, third grade standards right away. We are also making sure that they're thinking deeply about what they're doing. So yes, it's not that they're moving to another class. We do have that. It's called radical acceleration. It's another way that we do that. So we do have second graders who are going to 3rd or 4th grade classes for math. We do have students in 1st grade going to 2nd grade classes because that's where their need is. If their needs can't be met within the classroom with their grade level teacher through small groups and differentiation, then we do move them. We grade skipping is something that is really a very small percentage of students that do that, in which they are the age of 1st grade, but they're actually moved to 2nd grade. So all of those things happen within our school. In 3rd and 4th grade, they start moving also for science and social studies to a different teacher. In 5, 6, they also do that. So students can have a different advocate in 3, 4, and in 5, 6, and then they also have a different teacher for science and social studies. So if you think about the transitions they're doing during the day, they're going to advocacy in the morning. They have math and literacy taught by the same teacher. They have a transition out to recess, a transition back to lunch, a transition to their science class, transition to their social studies class, to their specials class. So all of that's happening during the day. And then by the time they get to 7-8, they are moving for every single class. So we have content specialists in science, social studies, math, and English. So by then, they're really getting sort of that middle school experience where they're moving for everything, so that they're prepared for all of those transitions, no matter where they decide to go to high school. So it's just sort of a gradual release to that. And yes, a lot of that differentiation is done by our wonderfully skilled teachers within the classroom.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. We have, can I speak to the transition process works for integrating a rising sixth grader? We are looking for switching for our oldest kiddo. Wonderful. So fifth and sixth grade, like we said, we see there's a natural transition there in sixth grade. So they come in and they're in mixed advocacy. So there are fifth graders who are new to the team, and there will be new sixth graders as well. And they are mixed in advocacies. And advocacies is what we call our homeroom. And the teachers in those classes act as advocate for those students in the room, and they are the ones teaching them the social emotional learning skills, and they're the ones that have morning circle with them every morning, and it's their first go-to if they're having a problem or they have a question or they need support talking with another teacher, or they want to see the counselor and they forgot where the counselor form is. Their advocate is their first person they typically go to. So a new sixth grader coming in would be going into a class where all of the students are new together, and there's some new fifth graders to that team as well as returning sixth graders. So that makes it pretty comfortable because there are always going to be in that first class of the day in advocacy, people who are new to the team. So whether they're fifth or sixth grade, they will be going over sort of, this is the culture of our team, this is the way we do things. So as a sixth grader, they would be learning from their peers as well about how things work and where things are. And so it works really well because it's not just sixth graders where they might feel like, oh, there's only 3 new in there. It's really half the class that will be fifth grade. So that works well for our incoming sixth graders who are new to our community. And you put up before and after care. What I love, when I was looking at different kindergartners for my son, and I did the same process you're doing. Some of the schools I went to, they said there was a lottery for before and after care. And I was like, what happens if I don't get in the lottery for that? This is necessary for my family. So that doesn't happen here. There's no lottery. You can sign up for champions, and they staff champions to meet the needs of how many students are there each day. So that's what's wonderful. They're also there during our breaks, and you will hear more and see more with Rochelle on the tour about that. But they have been a wonderful program here at the school, and there's also clubs after school till 5 o'clock, Mondays through Thursdays, that you can also choose for that after school care. The Hope Bus also comes through for some students who may be in kindergarten here, but have siblings still at Hope. So they do, the Hope Bus does do a pickup here as well. Thank you so much. If there aren't any more questions.
I
please
have
feel free.
another. If that's
Yes,
okay.
sure.
I'm curious. So this is a charter school, so we all opt in. How do you build community when it's not a neighborhood? What does that look like practically? And how do you, with kids coming from all over, how do you build that connection?
I love that question. We have so many community events that you can come to. We also have a group of parents who organize, like, we're going to play in the playground after school on Tuesday. So you go through Carline and then pick up your student and then park and then go to the playground and play together. We have our community trunk or treat. Back to school night is our biggest event and our carnival at the end of the year. But everybody comes on back to school night. We have food trucks and put out picnic tables, and you come play. Students wear their team color. So kindergartners are purple shirts and first and second grade is red. And so they wear, so even just outside, they can see like, that's somebody my age or that's somebody. And then the parents come around and get to know one another. We really invite in. And then at back to school night, everybody comes inside to learn who their advocate is, and then they can play with each other inside the school as well for part of that time. So that's how we kick off the year. And then we just really continue to have events. Our 7th and 8th grade band has concerts you can come to. Our drama club has performances. We have a fall bazaar sale on a Saturday. So there just really are events along the way, as well as spirit nights where different restaurants host and Westgate families go, that we love as well. So we do build community that way. And then play dates and all of the things that you do in every school. So there are ways to be connected. We have a family Facebook page where people put up, hey, we're going to be at this park, or we're all going to the zoo, or different things like that. So there are a lot of ways to get as involved as is good for your family at different times of the year. I know during different seasons, it's soccer season, we're out, but that our families get together. So that is one way that we build community and keep that ongoing. And what's wonderful is a lot of these kids are together for 13 years. So they really do get to know each other. And become friends and add new friends as they go along, and people move and people come into the school. But it is really a wonderful connection that the students build just by getting to know each other and being with each other year after year. So, with my son in 3rd grade, he's with the 4th graders that he was with as a 1st grader. So he sees them over and over again during his rise through the school. So that's how we build connection here.
And I was going to say too, when you go on a tour with me, you'll see parent volunteers working with
Yes.
kids, and we talk about like the logistics of being a volunteer and our school board versus the Adams 12 board. So there's lots and lots of ways to get involved as well.
Lots of committees too, the events committee, the school accountability committee. So there are different ways to get involved and connected with other parents, and not just around your children and your children's friends. So to become connected with other involved adults in the building too. Yes. So
Yeah.
our every
Oh,
year,
sorry.
yeah. And oh, what's that? Do you want
I
to
was
go?
just gonna say, I was just talk about field trips on the tour as well. And a lot of times the kids are going on a field trip when I'm trying to give a tour, so we have to kind of navigate them in the
Yeah.
hallways and stuff too. Yeah, but we do talk about all of that, and school fees, and that covers field trips and lots of cool
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, and what's great about our school too is there are service learning field trips, and there are content field trips, and there are arts field trips, and different things they do that are sort of traditions for different teams. When you go to 5-6, you go to outdoor ed. So there are different things. There's an overnight sleepover at some museum or zoo when you're in 3rd and 4th grade. So there are those things that students look forward to as they go through, but absolutely. And we also bring speakers in to the school and do sort of on-site expert talks and different hands-on things with experts that are sort of like a staycation. So it's like a stay field trip for them. It's a different day, but the expert comes in instead of always going out. But that's exciting because students get to go on a bus when they go on field trips and things like that that they don't typically get to do at a charter school. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for being here. If you think of something, do not hesitate to reach out by email, call. They will find the right person to answer your question. Usually starts with Rochelle. And then if she doesn't know the answer, which she knows all the answers, she will find the answer for you. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you, and may your school search be well. Thanks so much.
Thanks for all the information. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Bye.